I'm really, really looking forward to this workshop. And it's with our very own author, Jane Wyker. Would you come up here and please join us? That's good. That's good. Hey! Hi! We're in a workshop together. I just want to tell you, I have a lot. I have a lot of books. Anybody else here have a lot of books? Yeah. Some of them I've actually looked at. Most of them I can't part with, even if I never do read them. Many of them I've read pieces of. And some I have actually finished, like yours. It was amazing. I knew that I wouldn't get to read it over the summer. But I was going away to Maine for just a few days early in September to go out into the middle of Maine on this beautiful lake where there's no cell reception, no internet, and I knew I would get to read it. And I did. And I could not put it down. And before that happened, Lewis, he borrowed my copy of Soul Selfish, and he read it over the summer and would not shut up about it. Oh, wow, oh God, you gotta read this, I will. No, really, you've gotta read this, I really will. And I got, yeah, and so I got to do, anyway, when I finished reading this book, I knew from a very intuitive place that this needed to be shared with our community. And so I'm glad that you've agreed to do that this afternoon. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, because the first thing that I was curious about was where the title came from. The title of the book, Soul Selfish, your memoir.
The title of the book came from a meditation. I'm sitting quietly in meditation, and I received messages, and the message that I received was that I was to write a book called Soul Selfish. I will admit this was many years ago. But when I heard Soul Selfish, it so confused me, because for me, selfish means wanting or getting something from someone without regard to their benefit. And that didn't fit with soul at all, because to me, soul is holy and spiritual and loving. So I continued to meditate, and what I got was that soul selfish is self-love. Loving oneself enough to honor the soul. Because in this life, the ego is the first definition, but self-love is what soul selfish is.
And for me, we're so much about self-care, especially our prayer chaplains. And it's not easy for us to always exercise self-care. And for me, one thread in this book, in this story, it was kind of like self-care on steroids. It was really, it was uplifting. And the other thing, there's a subtitle to Soul Selfish called The Awakening of a Good Girl in quotes. What does that mean? Well, I read it and found out what it means, but I'm really curious about that, where that came from.
Well, we all take on roles, and as Kathy talked about roles, good girl was a psychological role, not a worldly role. And I grew up in a family that was quite chaotic. A mother who was emotionally ill, requiring shock therapy, older brother who was taking on the bad boy role, a very mean grandmother who lived with us, and a dad who tried to keep it all together. And I guess I joined my dad in wanting to make it stable, and did all that I could by relating to everyone what they needed, what they wanted, never being a bother, never asking for anything that might not be comfortable, convenient, and serving and serving and serving. And the problem with that was that I lost touch with myself. I lost touch with my ability to ask for anything or to what my desires were. I was just a good And in my inner work, I learned that the reason for all of that was not only to create stability for my family, but to make myself special so that I would be loved. And what I see in the world is that we all take on roles. Sometimes we go to school and we see like a student in school who does really well and he becomes the brain. Or an athlete that's really exceptional and he becomes the job. And so we take on these roles, and in those roles and living those roles, living our specialness, we don't know who we are, we lose who we are. They're very much as Kathy spoke about today.
Yeah. Isn't that funny how things work together?
So perfect. I bet you.
Synchronicity. I especially love that chapter called I Won't Be Codependent If You Don't Want Me to Be. But I love the part where you got to your entry into unity.
Unity. I was sitting at my Sunday table one morning in 1973, looking through the New York Times, and I saw an ad for unity. And unity, what's unity? I like the name, but I don't know what it is. I'll check it out. And at that point, I had 4 children, and I figured, well, I could go because I see they have Tuesday afternoon lunchtime lectures. And so I took the train, took my kids to school, dropped them off, took the train to the city, listened to Eric Butterworth. And I had never heard anybody speak the way Eric Butterworth spoke, where he talked of peace and joy and love and freedom. And I wanted that. I really wanted that. So I continued to go. And one day, he delivered a talk that I will never forget. And he stood in front of the microphone. And he cupped his hands and he said, "Alms for the poor, alms for the poor, alms for the poor, alms for the poor." And I wondered what he was doing. But he talked about the inner richness that we have, that we don't know about, and walk around this life impoverished looking for love. When we have so much love inside of us, so much love available to us every moment. And I'll never forget that.
Yeah. And we'll be forever grateful to Eric Butterworth.
Mm-hmm.
When we were born out of Eric Butterworth, out of Unity Center, like in 1999.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to talk a lot more this afternoon and have great questions and answers this afternoon. But the one thing that I do want to know before you leave this morning is what, in writing this book, what you really want the reader to take from it, to take with them.
That life is an inside-out process, just as the third affirmation. That our thoughts and beliefs create our life experience. Life is an inside-out process, that what is in your life now is a reflection of what's in you. So that's the first thing that I want you to know. But I also want you to know that just as I have done, it's possible for all of you to do, to go inside, regardless of your past, regardless of how difficult your childhood might have been or your adulthood might be, that it is fully possible for you to create a life, a fulfilled life of sustained happiness. It is totally possible. And what that requires is a willingness to look inside at your thoughts and the feelings that they create. Because your thoughts create your feelings, which in turn create your choices, which in turn create your actions.
You have been around Unity for a while. Circles back to our 5 principles we read at the beginning of the service.
And I want you to know that you are the first and most important relationship in your life, and that it's yours to take care of. And from that care that you give yourself, you can serve the world in a way that is totally different and totally contributing. And I've had this message in my life for many years and have given it through parent education classes, through family counseling, through corporate seminars, and now through Soul Selfish. And I've also created a quiz, an interactive quiz that lives on my website, janewyker.com. And the name of it is, how soul selfish are you? And if you check into that, you will get a very clear picture of where you stand in this life of soul selfishness. And it will also give you a reading of where you might begin to focus if you're interested in doing that.
God, it's just wonderful. I hope that you'll join us this afternoon. You know what? I can seriously see you sitting down with Oprah and talking about this book. I really keep kind of seeing that. And she'll be at the workshop this afternoon. That's David. But we'll be there, and we hope you'll be there. And we have the book in our bookstore. It's in our bookstore, and Jane will be there to sign if you would like to take the book with you today, after, of course, paying for it. And then there will be more available this afternoon, so I can't wait. Thank you.